Hello and welcome back to Coffee and Kurosawa, the friendly film crit podcast. I'm Ben Filipkowski, your resident film freak.
And I am Farrah Sarpkaya, a person who loves film, but like in a super chill. I am so glad that James Bond is having so much fun in his second career, sort of way. And this week, we're watching the original Benoit Blanc mystery, Knives Out. Released in 2019, this murder mystery, directed by Rian Johnson and starring Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, and a truly delightful chorus of suspects, takes place in the home of fictional mystery writer Harlan Crombie, played by Christopher Plummer, who is found dead by suicide in his home office. What follows is a series of misadventures as our gentleman detective, played by Daniel Craig, solves the mystery of Harlan's murder with help or perhaps hindrance from Marta, Harlan's friend and nurse, played by Ana de Armas. The conspiracy unravels and the truth is revealed, but not without an epic dose of humor, drama, and heart. We'll be discussing the whole thing, so if you don't want to be spoiled on the whodunit part of it, well, we'll be here when you get back. So Ben, I know this was not your first time seeing the movie, but what did you think upon rewatch?
It turns out I still like this movie. It's still good. I really enjoyed this when it came out. It was a genuine surprise and probably the most fun I had at the movies in 2019, which I think is saying something because I think like some major Avengers movie came out that year. I think this sits a little higher in my brain. I was a big fan of some other Rian Johnson movies. I had seen Looper a few years earlier. I had, of course, seen Star Wars The Last Jedi, which, though imperfect, still had a lot of really cool stuff going on. So for me, this was a no-brainer, fun murder mystery pastiche to check out. Murder mystery pastiche / homage to check out. And I think I've seen it maybe 8 times since. I really enjoyed this movie. Did this come out in 2019?
Yeah.
It did.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. And this was like one of those movies where, this came out late 2019. I saw it with my wonderful wife, Rachel. We loved it, and we were sitting in the theater, like, leaning over and like, I think I know who done it. And then like 5 seconds, I was like, no, I was wrong. It was really cool to see and not get any like, it's just so cool to see and feel like thrust into this thing because it does start in the middle of things. And it felt very cool to kind of get up to speed with the investigators into the mystery. And I think that this like has a look and tone that the sequels don't quite match. I think the energy of the script is just top notch in this. I think the look and feel of the sets and the overall vibe are just incredible. And I think part of that is how contained everything feels. We are not so much told about this setting as we are shown it. It's like the repeated use of flashback to kind of showcase parts of of Harlan's home. It kind of gives us that mental map. We understand the space as much as the people living in it do. And I think we get really good setup of who the family is and their interactions through all these little collisions that they have, and the kind of wonderful discrepancies between what they're saying while being interrogated and the flashbacks to what actually happened. It's so fun. The way that everything is woven together feels so good and so tight. This is a long movie, but it does not feel long. It feels like it really clips by quite quickly. And I don't really enjoy calling things cozy. I think like that's a bit of an umbrella term that we use to describe a feeling of something, but I think it does work in this case. I think that there's like a very, I don't know, like there's so many memes about the Chris Evans cable knit sweater in this. I mean, this is a murder mystery in the cooler months of the year, maybe early spring, and everyone's got some warm sweaters on, different outfits to keep away the chill. I don't know. There's a real vibe and a tone and an energy to it, and I really love how Benoit Blanc is more of a supporting character, despite being like the lead investigator. I wish that I had some deeper thoughts off the cuff right now, but it's just a really well-made movie, and it was a blast to see it in theaters. And jumping back
Right.
to like seeing it in theaters, this came out right before all the lockdown stuff, and so this was kind of like this really sustained me. Like Rachel and I loved going to the movies before COVID, and it's tough to get back into that habit. Uh, but like God, the experience of seeing this with a pretty full audience of people in mostly adult audience was really incredible. Everyone's laughing at the jokes. Everyone's kind of you hear little whispers everyone's giving to each other as they're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out and share that with their 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 friends and family. And yeah, this is just a great movie. Highly recommend if people haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. I small tangent. I did a lot of murder mystery acting in high school, and murder and mysteries are I want to say murder is a big interest of mine. It's not. Mystery novels is a big thing that I adore. Detective novels, noir. We'll be talking about The Big Sleep in a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And this film is such a love letter and a energizing, perhaps. I don't know how I would explain this, of this very classic mode of mystery and
Yeah.
film and entertainment. And there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. And first, you touched upon a little bit the look of it and the feel of it. I am currently wearing a cable neck sweater because we are, in fact, recording in early spring. And so, but I think part of what makes it so, that feeling of coziness, that feeling of that time of the year, even maybe, is just the way that it is lit.
Hmm.
And more than that, beyond just the season of like, I want to be inside with a warm cup of tea or coffee, as the case may be, is the use of light to reveal or hide motive, reveal or hide clues,
Hmm.
all this sort of thing is so incredibly beautifully done with such precision. Like there's a moment where Harlan's granddaughter Meg is on the phone
Yeah.
to Marta, and all you see of her, most of her is like dimly lit, but what you see is light directly across her eyes as she is, as we find out later, lying to Marta.
Yeah.
And again, another where Benoit is hiding in the, not even hiding in the dark, he's just sitting in the dark, and then he lights his cigar and all we see is the shine of the
Yeah.
lighter. And just moments like that throughout that give us this beautiful atmosphere. And it reminds me so much of the classic noir films, just like classic noir murder mysteries, the Bogarts era of dramatic lighting, of there's a spotlight, there's a man in the spotlight, or in
Yeah.
this case the opposite of that. But yeah, I just, oh, it's so well done and it's beautiful, and it gives such an air of claustrophobia is not quite right because it doesn't feel claustrophobic, but it feels, like you said, small scale. It feels like the world is not that big. We're so centered in this house of Harlan Thornbury. Even though we go other places, everything comes back to where it all began.
Hmm.
And I feel like the way that each scene is lit and then we get into the dimness of the house really underscores where the main action is taking us ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the way that this is as much an homage and pastiche of very Agatha Christie and
Mm-hmm.
other sort of murder mystery classics. I think it really draws on I mean, it does pull in those more influences as well, and I think it's just incredible in how, like you're saying, it's contained and yet breaches that containment. It does a lot with a uh, relatively limited cast and relatively limited setting, but by making that a character in and of itself,
Hmm.
it really like lends itself to this richer sort of experience. And like you're saying with the lighting, man, there's some cool things that I've seen on the lighting and how they shot this. Uh, the rigs that they had to use to get some of those the lighting effects in the interview scenes is really impressive and cumbersome, considering this was mostly on location. Um,
Hmm.
the way that they've done all of that and it married that cinematography to the kind of visual style, top notch.
Yeah.
Like no notes on it.
As I watched, like specifically looking for this, there's one scene that I think I particularly like and would love to pick at a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
And it is neither of the ones that I have mentioned thus far.
yeah.
Although those are great and we can absolutely talk about them. But in the latter half of the film, as Benoit Blanc is starting to find the hole in the donut hole, if you will, he goes back to the house and speaks to Harlan's mother, a woman of truly impossible age,
Yeah.
who has said nary a word, but from what others have said of her, she is silent but feisty. There's a moment where someone is like, Nana, you have to eat. And someone else is like, and Linda's like, she had the whole salmon spread. Don't you worry about her, even though she's just standing there, stock still.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in a window, backlit, and you can kind of see her. She's not really doing anything. But Blanc comes in his suit and his jacket, and he says basically, I hope I'm wrong, but, I think I might be the first person to give you condolences about the loss of your son.
Hmm.
And, he says, I know that you see more than other folks give you credit for, but I'm not going to rush you. And he just sits across from her, and he is then too backlit, and the two fall silent. And you can only kind of make the two of them out. You see the window behind them, but they are, encased in a sort of a shadow. And as Blanc brings himself back to the home where the murder's taking place, back to the grandmother, and she's just he's enveloped into the house.
Hmm.
It's just such a cool, thoughtful shot as he, I don't know, really inserts himself into the story, not just as the, you know, investigator that he insists that he is, the
Yeah.
impartial viewer, but he has a lot of heart in that moment that brings him more personally into the story than he had prior to this. I don't know. There's something about it that I find very beautiful. Um, and how they have shot specifically the backlighting with
Hmm.
them enshadowed by the house itself.
Yeah, I think it's a really arresting shot.
Mhm.
I remember being struck by it, just rewatching it, and it looks very the way that the grandmother is lit. She looks like a Rembrandt painting almost. Like it's very
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff in relief and a lot of stuff in shadow, and
Yeah.
I thought that was really impressive. And you do get that kind of, I believe you get like a wider shot of the two of them, and they're just kind of in the
Mhm.
dark, but you have the light around them. I thought that was it's
Yeah.
really interesting, and I think it kind of echoes a lot of the thematic focus of this movie is that it is an ensemble piece. I think like the way that they kind of shoot people and light people we are really kind of shown who they are, kind of metaphorically, but also literally. The silhouettes of people kind of stand out in such a way here, and yeah, I think that they Johnson certainly plays with the lighting in interesting ways. Like you have that the bit with the band of light over Meg's eyes. She's like in shadow and steps forward, and we see the light over her eyes. And it's kind of like she's wearing a mask, and it does kind of play up that like deceptive quality that because she is, lying through her teeth to Marta at that point. And I don't know. I think it's just really neat, and I also love how all the interrogation scenes you have these characters. They're usually off to the center of that big kind of like headboard of knives
Yes.
that Harlan has. I really love that, and then I love that they're well lit, but there's like the light is kind of behind them.
Yeah.
You're still able to make out all their features, no problem. The light is behind them, and it's at the very end. Blanc sits in such a way that the knives are like a halo around him, and like you get that, like it is literally illuminating as he is like sharing the truth of what happened. The way that they play with those things is so cool and a really really fun way to underline things going on in the plot, things going on thematically. And I think like that's just one of my favorite things about film in general is when you're able to pull that like that greater meaning from a marriage of like visual and the script, the visuals, the like when everything is kind of pulling together, you're able to get this like added element. And I think this movie does a great job at that.
Yeah. I think part of that too is how much it influences tone as we move through the mystery, because for the most part, it is quite cozy, even if it is a murder. It's that British village where they have an undue quantity of murders any day of the week that a little band of grannies are going to solve rather than, MI6, because this village apparently has a lot of murder going on. But at the same time, later on, when Fran is found dead, or rather, when Fran is found overdosing, maliciously, by Hugh, she's backlit, and not only that, but she's sitting at such a horror-esque angle. It looks unnatural because her body is slumped, her foot's kind of dangling, and the way that they play with tone in those moments when, Marta has to make this choice of, do I allow Fran to die and my secret is buried forever, or do I save her and potentially, lose this fortune and maybe go to prison and all these things? And she makes the right choice, or I shouldn't say the right choice. I mean, it is the right choice, but the moral choice, in alignment with her morality, is when the light shifts and she is not in the shadow anymore. Her Marta's face is fully lit. Fran is fully lit, and it's just such a fun play on tension and how they apply light to create tension in this film as well. Particularly with things like looking through glass, looking through windows, looking at Benoit Blanc in a car singing along to an iPod while an ambulance pulls up from behind. There's so many things.
So good.
It's such a good bit. But there are so many moments like that where we're playing with the energy of the scene, and then we pivot, and the lighting has changed so dramatically, and so too has the energy that we have been infused with for that scene, and then we move on into other pieces. And I wonder if that's partially why it feels so not that long a movie, because it does have this very distinct dynamism. Dynamism, is that the word I'm thinking of?
Dynamism.
Dynamism. Thank you. Of, we're not just having this muted early spring gray the entire way through. We are getting the highs of the bright light outside. We're getting the lows of this dark, terrifying laundromat,
Yeah.
and everything in between. And that spectrum takes us on the story just as much as the script or the set or the everything else.
Yeah, I think like the way that that is employed is really effective because like we kind of get those gray days of this could be fall, this could be spring. But we get those gray days and we get those like nicer days and there's some rainy days and the way that the film is shot just really highlights a lot of that like up and down of it all and it's really impressive. And while you were talking about the way that that they're playing with lighting, I was just thinking about that shot after the will is read and Marta wakes up at home
Hmm.
and she's got to like sneak out because there are the press is everywhere, and she leaves the apartment and she turns and Walt is
Oh,
there to talk to her,
yes.
and he's like lit slightly from the back, and he's trying to be at first he's trying to be very like the energy of his dialogue with her is very like, hey, like, I just want to talk about this. Let's just talk about this. And
Mhm.
as he kind of approaches, he blocks more of the light source. So he is a little like the lighting around him becomes more sinister.
Yes.
And so whether or not he's attempting to be threatening, it comes off as threatening. It's really, I thought that was a really cool little bit there. And again, like what you're saying with, oh my God, Fran?
Yeah.
When Fran is found, it's like spooky backlighting.
Mhm.
And like the way that the flashlight plays over her face as well is
Yes.
oh man, creepy stuff.
Yeah.
And really well done.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just love how much of this is like I've been watching some like, hey, men of the world, you're bad at interior design. Here's some tips to like be better and be more helpful to your partner. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, cool. And I watched a 20-minute video on lighting in
Yeah.
a house, and they're like, yeah, your primary lights are like pot lights, and you probably never really want those on except for cleaning. And therefore you want like task and accent lighting for
Mhm.
most things. The Thromby Manor is entirely accent lighting.
Yeah.
Like everything is as moody as it can get, and it befits the fact that Harlan is a mystery writer. He loves whodunits. He loves these things. He collects, curios and eccentricities to kind of feature and highlight throughout the house. Um, you also have that bit where Marta's trying to listen in to Wagner and Elliot talking,
Yes.
and she's like leaning down by the stained glass, and there's like the pane of normal glass, and then an eye appears watching her back. And but the detailing on that stained glass, on
Yes.
that kind of like decorated glass, it's all like death and
Mhm.
murder. It's really
Yes. It's
very, very, very fun.
incredible.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun
Oh,
dressing these sets.
yeah.
There's
It's
a
so cool.
yeah, just like the richness of that place. Like every chair looks so comfortable. Everything looks so warm and inviting, and
And also deadly.
also deadly. And yeah, the way that it all pulls together, just setting in general, is oh, hard to go
I know.
wrong. Hard to go wrong.
I think that's a really good place to pivot a little bit to the broader idea of editing, because I think, not unlike Ocean's 11,
Yeah,
the way this film edits itself
yeah,
is so good.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the smash cuts remind me a lot too of like Hot Fuzz,
yeah.
where they're comedic smash cuts as well, of like, I think at one point Linda is like, I've heard of you, Mr. Blanc, and
Yeah.
if you think I'm dumb enough to let you bait me into talking
Oh,
badly
yeah.
about my family, you have another thing coming. And then smash cut to her husband, who
Just
is
yeah,
talking badly about about
Oh my
Walt.
god.
And Blanc is just leaning in, just
Yeah.
absolutely delighted
Oh,
about
it's
it. And I'm
so
like,
good.
yes.
I love that.
Oh
That
god.
stands out. Yeah. Oh my god. Just
Oh,
yeah, the kind of like call and response nature of the editing.
mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the a gag or a punchline will be set up in one shot and answered in the other. It works so well.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that bit, and I love the um, like all the bits with like Walt and and gosh, who else? Like just I'll focus on Walt because like you get those bits of him where it's like, yeah, you had like a pretty knockdown argument with your dad at his birthday party. He's like, no, we just had a little disagreement over something, and then like immediate cut to like a pretty heated interaction
Where
that
his
everyone
dad
is staring
fires
at.
him on his
Yeah,
birthday. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it was
Yes.
just all really well done. And the way that so much of this is shot as well highlights a lot of these great little character moments and interactions.
Mhm.
And again, I'm thinking of Walt because Michael Shannon is just
Oh.
in this stealing scenes very quietly. But there's a bit where I think it's like when Ransom reveals more of what he talked to Harlan about, and it's like fairly incriminating. And you just have like that wide shot of the family in the living room, and Walt just like throws his arms up in the air, vindicated. And he's just out of focus, but it's like he's like,
Yes.
I told you, no one Ransom
Oh,
sucks. Yeah.
yes. Yes. Oh my goodness, so good.
And apparently, this is just like reading up on trivia, but apparently, like Michael Shannon's ad libs were just like you throw them in there, and everyone would like absolutely break, so they would have to redo it with the line written in. Because
So people could get the giggles out.
yeah,
Yeah.
his whole he's got the what's that line? It's like, hey, maybe Harlan left you a glass of cold milk in his will. It's like just thrown in.
Yes.
Yeah,
There Speaking of setups though, because like I think the writing can loop in a little bit with the editing here
yeah,
too. Early on, Harlan says something to the effect of like a man goes through life to a point where he can no longer tell the difference between a real knife and a false knife.
yeah,
And then the moment at the end where Ransom is going to go stab Marta
yeah,
and he grabs a knife off the big halo of knives and it's slow motion, the two of them falling to the ground, and it takes approximately forever. And then he stabs her.
yeah,
Then they both look at the knife, and then he pulls it out, and it's a retractable knife. But then he
yeah,
tries again, and it goes squeak, a squeak, a squeak.
yeah,
It's just, uh,
yeah. It's
the
very
callback
good.
followed by that. The one use of slow motion is this.
Yeah,
And it just lands so hilariously.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, the way that all this is set up to we talk I say we talked about this in our Hot Fuzz episode, but I think I just like rambled about how much I love Hot Fuzz for most of that episode. But I think this movie does a lot of the similar sort of
Mhm.
setup with regards to like the foreshadowing. Things that are going to be important later on are
Mhm.
established
Oh yeah.
like in the first opening minutes.
Yeah.
Um like for example, the you just mentioned the not knowing a real knife from a fake one
Mhm.
is like what Harlan's big kind of speech after his birthday party. But even before that, uh, there's that bit where oh gosh, I think it's when Marta's first leaving. It must be when Marta's first leaving, and Great Nana says something like, "Oh, Ransom, is that you?
Mhm.
Have you come back already?"
Yeah.
And it's like a blink and you miss it. Like you don't think twice about it, and it winds up
Yeah.
being like central to the entire uh, the entire story. And
Oh yeah.
little bits like that are really well done. And it's really fun too because we're seeing a lot of these interviews for that first kind of third of the movie. And we get the kind of like recreation of what happened. And I think
Yeah.
Walt's like, oh yeah, then dad came down and I told him to go back to bed. And he went back to bed.
Mhm.
And then in the second act, there's the twist. We see what happened.
Yes.
And Marta's, the implication is that Marta has accidentally given Harlan the lethal dose of morphine. This is not what turns out to be the case, but Harlan winds up to save Marta and protect Marta and her family. Basically, takes his own life to help initially to mask, the what the apparent mistake.
Mhm.
But then like he also walks her through everything she has to do to like throw the police officer in.
Yeah.
And it absolutely would have worked if it were not for the fact that Benoit Blanc is Benoit Blanc.
Yeah. And also, it just is so funny to me that Marta says, like, in 15 minutes, this is what would happen. At 5 minutes, this is what happens. And Harlan is like, we only have 6 minutes left. I'm like, bro, if you had 100 milligrams of morphine instead of 3, you would notice immediately. And so he gets so caught up in his own little game, which everybody said, like even Linda at one point is like, you had to find different ways of talking to dad because he wasn't really a conversationalist in that same way. He didn't open up. But if he'd not gotten so wrapped up in his own novelization of his own demise, he would still be alive.
Oh yeah.
Because he would have noticed having that much morphine in his system. It's so those little setups, and Fran and her stash, the throwaway line of Ransom making the help call him Hugh, stuff like this, and then just not mentioning it until it all comes together in true murder mystery fashion is just so good.
Yeah. And especially like Marta's her thing of like she literally cannot lie without vomiting.
Yeah.
She learned, like, this is established the first time that Blanc interrogates her or speaks with her. And then we kind of get a second setup of it with when Ransom has his whole like, you just ate beans and sausage, and now you're going to tell me exactly what happened.
Yeah. Here's a bowl.
Here's a bowl in case
if you try to lie.
Yeah, if you're trying to lie. And then she tells a very little lie to Blanc to kind of like keep things moving along during the kind of chase sequence of things, and has to very quickly grab a to-go cup in her car and hurl into that. And they do it. She throws up twice, and it's the third time is like the kind of like weaponization of it. Like, oh yeah, Fran's fine, everything's okay. And Ransom has a whole like, then you've got nothing on me. I'll be out of like, I'll get like a few months for arson. I'll get this, and I'll be out, and then I can make your life a living hell. And she immediately throws up because she's been lying. And she's like, yeah, Fran's dead, and you just confessed.
Yes.
Really good gotcha moment.
So good.
Yeah, this is a fantastic movie. Like, the cast is incredible. I think they all really understand that this is an ensemble piece, and the fact that Ana de Armas is was at the time such a relative newcomer really like really sold that she is this kind of outside witness to things. Man, I really love this movie. It's just
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Firing on all cylinders. I think there are a few moments where it's like, we can kind of trim. We could probably trim a couple lines here, but I
I
still
mean,
think it's
maybe.
incredible. Yeah.
They I like much like Hot Fuzz is like that the homage to those action movies and whatnot and
Yeah.
makes use of the tropes of action movies so well. This makes such incredible use of the tropes and traditions of the murder mystery to the point of absurdity of it's a trick window, but also it looks at those and kind of pokes fun at them because not only is Harlan's house just chock-a-block with all of this nonsense just for the funsies of it, his office is behind a hidden door which the housekeeper knows about and she just kicks it open. Everybody knows it's there. It's just
Yeah.
cool, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And the application of all of these, the gentleman detective who he doesn't like being called a detective. He arrives at the terminus and he waits for the answer to fall in his feet, basically.
Yeah.
We have the detectives who are, one of them is such a fanboy of Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
And then we have, of course, our cast of absolutely incredible characters who are just a little bit caricature, but not quite in the same way as some of the sequels, which we might touch upon later. But like, you get such a perfect locked door, not literally, but like locked door mystery and impossible mystery, perhaps. And it's couched in every possible like
Yeah.
detective story trope of the spurned family, the reunions and the
Yeah.
infighting and all of this. It's just it's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it works so well because you know stories like this,
Yes.
and it's able to kind of remix that in a really fun, really
Mhm.
exciting way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like that's probably a good point to kind of like steer into character a bit more because
Mhm.
you outlined this early on, and
Mhm.
you know an interesting look at some things that hit different and also the same. Looking at this 6 or 7 years after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because we have such a I'm good well, I say diverse. I mean in their caricatureness, not necessarily in ethnicity. Although we do have some cast of color. And the way that it is approached is fascinating because it's not a big focus, except when it is. Because we have this very wealthy family of what I would say is pretty new money,
Yeah,
right? And one of the, well, there's a discussion at Harlan's birthday funeral. I'm blanking.
yeah,
Birthday,
one
where,
of those.
yeah, where there is talk around the table about a certain president and about 1930s Germany and about the fact that there's a right way and a wrong way to become an immigrant in America and how they're stealing our culture and all these things. And there's a running, I don't want to use the word joke, but a running theme that every single family member, A, doesn't know where Marta's family is from.
Yeah,
Every time they get it wrong. And then we also get every single family member being like, I wanted you at the funeral, but I was outvoted.
yeah,
Every single one of them. And it's like, well, clearly you think of her as a family asterisk because they keep telling her that they're like, oh, you're basically family. You cared for
yeah,
dad so much. And this look at class and race and privilege and all of this, and the focus so heavily on the money.
mhm,
And the only person, or persons, I suppose, that seem to care at all that a man was killed and his life is done is Marta and Blanc
Yeah.
and Harlan's mother. Everyone else is so focused on the money and who gets it. And that's the only reason why they care who killed him.
Yeah.
And there's something in that. I mean, there's a lot in that around how we view class and honor and privilege and family that I think is so interesting. And the fact that they included that storyline or that focus delights me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a nice humanizing touch to a story that could just be a cut and dry murder, but gives us the complexity too of what privilege does to a person,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, a lot of those talking points that come up in this, I think it must have been the wake. They must be having like the wake for Harlan.
Mm.
Um, a lot of the talking points that come up in that are, frustratingly still going on 7 years after the fact. I think that it certainly adds an element of it certainly adds for Marta, for the fact that her mother's explicitly an undocumented immigrant.
Yeah.
It adds an element of urgency and stress to these things.
Mhm.
Like her employer is dead. She also feels she's responsible for it.
Yep.
And so, there's all this stuff going on, and she just kind of wants to get out from under all of it. Then the money gets involved. She is named the sole heir of Harlan's sole heir. The family turn on her immediately, despite all this, like, oh, but like
Yeah, we're family. We'll
we're
take
family,
care of you.
you're practically family. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And I think it's that kind of dichotomy of like the family have been in this position of like, oh well, dad hired her and dad likes her, so we like her.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason. And when the chips are down, when they feel they are owed something, yeah, they just. I mean, it's where we get the title as well. I think Blanc says like you turn on each other, beaks bloody, knives out.
Yeah.
Like vultures, beaks bloody, knives out. And yeah, I don't know that it feels like a really insightful commentary on immigration, on
Yeah.
things like that. But it just feels representative of what unfortunately the world is kind of like. And they do play it for laughs a lot, like in the kind of way that Richard has that bit where he's like talking about how like, oh, Marta's incredible, like
Mm-hmm.
they did all this, and dad loved her. She's one of the most diligent, hardworking people out there. Immigrants, they get the job done. And then immediately looks like, huh? Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
Hamilton. We got tickets and we saw it at this theater. And it's like it's so of that time, and yet so so evergreen.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I don't know. I remember in 2019, those when you and I worked together, a bunch of us were really hyped to get Hamilton tickets for like the tour.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And Rachel and I got tickets, and we just did not go. We sold them to some. We passed on it because I think like we just kind of I don't know. I can't remember the exact reasoning behind why we did it, but yeah, we were just kind of like we were over it at that point. And I think that there has been, especially now, you look back at Hamilton for as much as that was a big cultural moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's also led to a lot of like kind of criticism of that sort of mainstream advocacy to some extent, or mainstream apparent advocacy. And I think there's been a lot of criticism of that, and I think that kind of reference winds up aging well because you get it kind of highlights the affluent upper middle class, upper class, you know, citizens of North America who kind of look down their nose on uh, other people and say like, well, like, yeah, I have no problem with immigrants as long as you do it the right way. It's like,
Right.
well, hang on.
It's performative. So much
Exactly.
of it is
Yes,
performative.
that's the
And I
word
know
I'm
we're
looking
getting
for.
into a little bit of like actual politics talk, but it
Yeah.
specifically in this movie, specifically as the group tells Marta, your family, or you should have been at the funeral, or we will help you and your mom, or whatever.
Yeah.
Even Meg, who is arguably the one who is most close to Marta, they're about the same age. Marta's maybe a little bit older, but not by
Yeah.
much. You know, she's the only one that's really like checking in with Marta because she knows that Marta was close to her grandfather, all of these things. Even she
Yeah.
tells the family that Marta's mother is undocumented. She is the one who leaks that information to the rest of the family, which
Yeah.
throws her, Marta and her mother, particularly, in danger.
Yeah.
And that particularly makes the betrayal so much worse because even these folks who are pretending like, oh, yeah, we super accept you and you're one of us and blah, blah, blah. And then just on a dime, on a dime, throw away that loyalty for money, which was never theirs to begin with. They had every opportunity to build their fortunes. Indeed, Linda built her own fortune, you know, and yet they did nothing. They just think they're owed their father's hard work. And it's like, well, maybe you should have done it the right way and used
Yeah.
that $1 million loan like Linda did and build something from the ground up, you know? And
Yeah.
just it that betrayal is so egregious in light of how performative they all are around not just being champions for equality, because there's a lot of that, but also just performative in how they are with their grandmother and how they are with Harlan and not really getting to know him as a person other than, oh, hey, checkbook,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and the whole thing of like Ransom being the one who kind of does get Harlan, but is also kind of stuck in this like, I say stuck in, is born into this life of privilege and has never really wanted for anything and
Yeah.
never really will. Yeah, his whole like, he seems to be like of the same mold as Harlan, but he has no work ethic for it. He has no, he could be as successful as Harlan. He just doesn't want to.
Mhm.
Um, and his entire kind of one of his inciting motivations for this is that he learns what Harlan's planning, but then Harlan also twists the knife as as we are told that Harlan and Ransom like to do to each other. They like to be,
Yeah.
as Blanc calls them, big drama mamas who like to blow
Yes.
up in front of the family.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and Harlan twists the knife because he's like, oh, and Marta's the only person who can actually beat me at Go.
Yeah.
And Ransom's like, I thought I could do that. I
Yeah.
thought I was the only person who could do that. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's like a layer there of like added resentment on his part.
Mhm.
But he's also got that kind of a mind that is able to put together this entire plot very quickly. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something very humanizing about the fact that Ransom's Ransom's motive is not just the money. It's certainly a big part of it to be, you know,
yeah,
but he really the he could have done it in so much less a roundabout way, but instead he tried to find a way
yeah,
to really hurt Marta because, you know, she stole his grandfather from him. This relationship that he thought he had was a lie. And
Yeah.
that's very human. And making sure that that was a facet of the story and of the motive, making it really personal, was a really good choice.
Yeah.
Where everybody else, it was just the money. With Ransom, it was the money and also
Yeah.
that envy makes the murder that it's not technically a murder. Anyway, go watch the movie. It's great. Makes the not quite murder so much more believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh, so good. So good. I love this movie.
yeah. Yeah. I had a whole I can't even remember what I was thinking when I watched it, but like there's a bit at the end before Blanc reveals everything, and he's playing with the labels
Mm-hmm.
for the different medications,
Yeah.
and he rolls up his sleeves. And I was convinced like he was going to do like a demonstration of like I'm going to inject 100 milligrams of morphine and be fine, and he would be fine,
Yes.
and that would be this like reveal. Um, and it just kind of kept like I remember watching it, and I was like, oh wow, wow. And it kept twisting, and I can't even remember who I thought the killer was going to be originally. But yeah, I just remember I remember being caught off guard by the ending there, even though like
Yeah.
and when they bring in Ransom, I was like, there's going to be like another twist though. There's going to be another layer of this.
Yeah.
No, and then there isn't another layer of it. The twists are in how it was done, not in who did it. Yeah, they really weaponize how charming Chris Evans can be
Oh,
on screen.
yes.
It's great.
I think in my notes I wrote something to the effect that I love that Chris Evans is getting his Hugh Grant pivot into villainy.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
For the rom-com to villain trope or pipeline is strong with these two, and I love that for them. But I mean, on the subject of those tropes, the final scene is just such a perfect representation of the you know, the detective explains all at the dinner party or at the
yeah,
whatever. Like we did the Thin Man, I don't even know how long ago at this point, a while ago.
yeah,
Go shameless plug, go listen to that. It's great. And they literally set a dinner table to reveal who the killer is. And the same is true here. And I adore that the trooper who is helping Lieutenant Elliot is such a fanboy
yeah,
of Harlan and also of romance movies, Hallmark movies as well. And it's just his joy is our joy as we watch the detective solve the crime.
yeah,
Instead of it being Marta, which is usually the Watson that is like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, tell me everything. In Thin Man, it's his wife, right? But
yeah,
here it's the trooper who's like, oh, this is from that book, this is from that book, this is from this movie,
yeah,
and like he's just all in it, and then he gets to be there when Benoit is explaining everything, and he's just like, oh my god, everything I've ever wanted in this moment is happening.
yeah.
Um,
I do love
and
that
he is
bit.
all of us.
Yeah, I love that bit where it's like, I know who did it. Like Trooper Wagner, and they're like, what? He's like, no, 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 Trooper Wagner, come in. Like, it's like little throwaway
Oh,
gags like that are really fun.
oh my god, so good.
Of course, that's oh gosh, who plays Trooper Wagner?
Wagner?
Noah Segan, I think it is.
Kay Callan.
No, that's
Wait, no, that's Grand Nana. Noah Segan,
yeah,
yeah.
Noah Segan.
I can
Uh, Noah Segan, frequent collaborator with Ryan Johnson, has been in
yeah.
pretty much every one of his movies. Gets a cameo in Glass Onion and a bit part in Wake Up Dead Man, the sequels to this.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great movie. This is a great movie. I also really love there's that bit with Emmett Walsh as Mr. Proofrock, the security guard, because
Yes.
Carlin has on-site security. His on-site security is this old guy, Mr. Proofrock, who's like, used to be we would just patrol the grounds. Now we have all this modern technology, and the camera pans over to like
the
VCRs from
oldest
'85.
VCRs,
Yeah. Just a really good moment. But also just like Emmett Walsh was in so many great movies. So it's cool seeing him here. And Alan Stevens, the lawyer who reads the will, is Frank Oz, who you probably know best as Yoda, or is Frank Oz Miss Piggy?
That's a great question. I should know this, and I'm ashamed that I don't. He's Fozzie. He is Miss Piggy. Yep.
Yeah.
Shame on me. He's a lot of things. So many things.
Oh gosh.
And he's just a lawyer that is a Muppet, and I love that.
Frank Oz, filmmaker in his own right. Has directed some great movies. Yeah, but like he's in this because he and Rian Johnson worked together on Last Jedi, obviously.
Of course.
And
incredible.
Yeah, there's just so many like good little bits. This is a great film.
And if you liked this, what else might you like, Ben?
I think if you like this, the movie Gosford Park, I don't remember who the director is on that. This is a 2001 movie. It's a murder mystery. It's a Robert Altman movie. Okay. So that actually makes a ton of sense because I was reading that Knives Out took a lot of inspiration from Robert Altman movies. So, wow. Okay. I'm blowing my own mind with this. Gosford Park is this kind of satirical black comedy mystery film directed by Robert Altman. It was written by Julian Fellows. Julian Fellows is also the guy behind Downton Abbey. So that kind of gives you a sense of this. But yeah, this was a murder mystery with like an absolutely stacked cast. And the cast is divided, like in all things Downton Abbey, above the stairs and downstairs, because it is the aristocrats who own the home and their servants. So you have Michael Gambon, Kristen Scott Thomas, Maggie Smith, Charles Dance, Tom Hollander. Just so many people. And then all the servants are, you have Kelly MacDonald, Clive Owen, Helen Mirren, Emily Watson, Derek Jacobi, Richard E. Grant. Like, this is a truly stacked cast. Some of these appearances are like walk-on parts, but it's kind of a similar. You have the country estate Gosford Park. A murder happens there. A bunch of people come in to investigate the murder. Really good movie. Really good movie. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
What would you recommend, though, Farrah?
Oh, so many things. Netflix, I think, did a number of Poirot films, which are spectacular. I love them anyway.
Are these the Kenneth Branagh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
first one. I have a story about the first one.
Good.
I have a good, slightly embarrassing story about the first one.
Oh no.
If I could tell it. So Rachel and I wanted to watch it. We didn't catch it in theaters. We waited till we wound up watching it on streaming a couple years ago. And we watched the whole thing and we're getting through it. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun. Like a little melodramatic, but pretty fun. And then at the end, we're like approaching the big reveal. And I was like, you don't think they all did it, do you? And she's like, there's no way. There's no way. And it's like, turns out they all did it because neither of us had read the book.
Yes.
So spoilers, everybody, for this, few decades old book. But they're all in on it. All the suspects are in on it. And my reaction was to call Agatha Christie a hack in the heat of the moment. I was very like, come on, what an ending.
How dare you speak ill of the Queen of Murder? Speaking of Agatha Christie, though, the other one, one of the other ones on my list is Seven Dials, which is definitely a Netflix, which came out recently, which is really good. And I enjoyed it a lot. And any noir detective stuff like Big Sleep, Maltese Falcon, Third Man, Thin Man, all of those come to mind, but there's just a bajillion of them.
Yeah.
And then the TV show, I know we don't really do shows, that's not our jam, but Murder, She Wrote, so good. You know what else is good and not a movie? Patreon. We have one. You can find us there as Coffee and Kurosawa. You can also find us on Blue Sky and Instagram as Coffee Kurosawa Pod. You can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd as Farrah Sarpkaya, and at sarpkaya.ca, where I lend my voice as a voice actor. Where can the people find you?
The fine listeners of the show can find me. They can listen to me here. They can find me on Blue Skies at the Benjimon, and on Letterboxd is at Benjimon.
And as we close, and we slowly fall onto the carpeted floor to drive our fake knife into the chest of this episode, might I just say, squeak, squeak, squeak.